Hey guys, the podcast is officially here. Meet our first guest, Kevin. He goes by Kevin Trades on Instagram. This 22-year-old stock options trader has made multi six figures and potentially is reaching for seven. Kevin owns a trading and options investing educational platform known as TCX. He's been helping people make legitimate money through investing into options trading, and it actually personally caught my attention. I have so many questions for Kevin on how he built his successful company, and I wanted to dive deep into his mind to figure out what is the fire that ignited a passion for his entrepreneurship. This is an extremely informative podcast that's going to teach you actual lessons from real life entrepreneurs that actually seen struggle and defeat and have successfully climbed their way to the top. Without further ado, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.
Hey, look who it is with the C63. Oh, that AMG thing, though. My boy Kevin. Oh, look at the boy. Hey, man, sauced up.
Yo. Is this thing on? Welcome, guys, to the Hustle House podcast. I got my guest with me. This is the first official podcast of the house. And, we just got started. Thought about getting a little podcast going like that. And I've got a special guest for you guys today. My boy Kevin is in the building. Introduce yourself, Kevin, bro. What's going on?
What's up? My name is Kevin. I'm 22 years old. Currently, an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Yeah, me and Kevin met on Instagram a couple months ago, talked back and forth. I seen his progression. He's seen my progression, and it's a mutual respect thing. So right now we're going to basically just, talk about what our upbringings are and what, our life been able to accomplish and stuff like that. And, what we've been able to do. And I'm sure you guys are going to gain a lot of information and knowledge from that. So what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you doing
I'm
today?
doing great, bro. So this is the first podcast. So
it's exciting, huh?
I know, right?
Very
So
exciting.
as of right now, man, I just want to get into it, bro. So introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you coming from? And your upbringing a little bit.
All right. Obviously, I said my name. My name is Kevin. 22 years old. When I was born in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys don't know where that is, it's in Southeast Asia. It's where
Bali.
Bali is.
Yeah.
Everybody goes there. But I was born in the villages.
The villages.
So came here when I was 8. There's a whole thing where it's like you come into America and you automatically think you're gonna have that good life, that better life. So that's the
Grab
whole.
that pillow.
So that's the whole outlook of how people view America.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you come to America, you're automatically gonna be
Make it. You are successful. Yeah.
right? But
American dream.
But
right?
it's actually the opposite. You have to kind of when my parents first brought me. We stayed at a relative's place,
Mm-hmm.
but we actually we got kicked out of that place after 3 weeks.
Wow.
I forgot why. I was like 8,
Mm-hmm.
but she actually kicked us out of the house, and so we had to stay at a motel for like a month, a whole month at a motel. Just imagine that, right? Me
That's
and my
crazy.
parents,
8 years old, right?
We went from when I was living in Indonesia. We had a maid, we had a house, but we come over here. It's like we gotta stay at a motel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was very I don't know. I don't really remember everything about it, but I know that we did stay at a motel, and then we moved to the San Fernando Valley, which is where I currently live.
Awesome.
We moved there. We rented my parents. What they did was they rented a room from some guy. Some guy was offering 3 different rooms for rent. So we had 2 roommates. Both were college students. So at this time I was about 9. I had to sleep in a room with my parents for the next 3 years.
So 9 to 12?
9 to 12 I slept on the floor.
Wow.
So that was what, third grade up until 6th.
Something like that, yeah.
They would sleep on the bed and I'll sleep on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Until they were able to save enough money to get an apartment.
So did you know English at this moment? Did you know English? Were you, because you
let
were
me back up.
born in Indonesia.
Right.
So how did the English come into play and stuff?
Back when I was over there, when I was in kindergarten
Mm-hmm.
to preschool, they put me into an international school where it's like you can learn Mandarin, English.
So you pick it,
Yeah, you get to. It's not really you pick. They just throw it out there for you. You have to learn it.
Uh-huh.
But it was very basic. It was just like hello, hi, January, December, the calendar dates, the numbers.
Yeah.
How are you? Hello, how are you?
Hmm.
I don't know if you know, English is probably one of the hardest languages to actually learn.
Really? Is that crazy?
The
That's
internet,
crazy.
because you have a lot of like there, there,
Yeah.
they are.
That's a
So it's
couple.
kind
Yeah.
of like it's
Like, what's
kinda
going on?
confusing. Exactly. So I learned a few phrases. That's it. I I was bullied, right? That's where it comes into play. I didn't know English that well, so I I don't want to say I was a victim, because I don't like to look at myself as a victim, but I was bullied all throughout elementary school, going into middle school,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to fit in, right? I wanted to be a part of that crowd, the cool crowd.
Yeah.
And so my parents are obviously, they're Asian, so they're very
Conservative,
conservative and very like,
formal.
go to school, be a doctor,
Yeah.
that kind of shit. Right?
Yeah.
So I was, because I wanted to be accepted,
Yeah.
I was doing dumb things, right? In middle school, I started smoking weed, whatever, started doing drugs, started drinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's when it escalated. So in high school, fast forward to high school, because nothing significant happened in middle school. I didn't graduate. Maybe that's pretty significant. But other than that, going into high school, it got even worse. That's when I started drinking, getting into like pills.
Yeah.
Going
Falling down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, falling down
Trying
the
to
rabbit
fit
hole.
in.
Exactly. Just for the sake of wanting to fit in. But first you want to fit in, and then once you fit in, you're in that crowd now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're gonna do you now.
Yeah.
You're doing whatever it is you're doing, drugs, whatever, doing bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of escalates and escalates and escalates. And then let me just tell you my grades though. My ninth grade, my grades were fine.
Yeah.
10th grade, so 9th, 10th grade, I was playing basketball. So I was
Yeah,
playing
same,
basketball
bro.
in middle school.
Yeah.
So
Baller.
I was on the middle school team. I was gonna try out for the high school team, but like I said, I was too busy trying to
Fit
to
in
the
and be
crowd.
cool.
I was over here
Not
going
focused
to school,
and everything.
not doing sports, just hanging out with people every day,
Yeah.
not really doing anything productive,
Mhm.
not even doing my homework. So 10th, 11th, 12th, that's when my grades really started to kind of tumble down. And 10th, 11th grade, I had all Fs.
Really.
All Fs. Junior year was probably one of my worst years, because I barely showed up, and I was on drugs literally like 70% of
Mhm.
the time.
Really. Junior year.
Yeah, junior year. So I would go in, I would come into school high as fuck. I would come into school drunk. I would come into school on Xans.
Jeez,
I
bro.
Listen, I would have literally bottles of vodka in my backpack instead of notebooks and papers.
Wow.
And I would just save that for lunch, or I would like my high school, like how there you have time from one class, and then you have like a 5-minute interval.
Yeah,
class.
to like the passing
Go
period.
to the bathroom, drink a couple shots.
So I have a question. So at this point, were you still trying to fit in? Because at this,
point, I was already like
in
that
too
kid.
deep.
I was already that kid.
That kid.
I was already that kid. I was like, oh, Kevin, like
Yeah, he's that guy, the crazy guy. You know.
he's kind of crazy.
So 1 second. So you went from trying to fit in to fitting in too much to the point where you got addicted to these things.
It's just like it's like typical high school where you do stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
But in my situation, it got even worse to the point where, I'd hang with my little group of people. Like we're all homies and everything, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll go to parties, but then it would escalate to where every single party we would go to, we would literally get into fights with people, like street fights, fist fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be it escalated to where it's like, oh, no one fucks with us now.
Yeah.
No one can fuck with us because
You're
we're
that
a
guy.
big group
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
And we used to just fight all the time,
Yeah.
right? We used to be on drugs all the time. Every single Friday, Saturday, every single Friday or Saturday, we would get into fights with other groups of people. From like we would go to parties, 'cause in high school,
Yeah,
like
you go to
so
parties,
many parties, right? Different high
everything.
schools, everything.
Yeah.
And it would just be like we go to a party, oh, they're not allowed in there.
So
you guys are not
this was
allowed.
all in San Fernando Valley, right?
Yeah, this is all in the valley.
Gotcha. Okay.
So because I pretty much grew up in the valley, and like I said, every single party we go to, it would be crazy because it'd be like we'd all get ready to go to, because there'd be occasions where we just want to hang, we just want to have fun, so we'll go to a party and they'd be like, oh, you guys can't come in,
And then you
like,
fight right there, boom.
yeah, it's like whatever. So after that, escalated into doing literally like criminal acts, right? We would like literally, I don't know if I'm gonna say this, but we would literally, I would do it because if you didn't know, I ended up going to prison for 32 months, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So senior year, I didn't go to school. I dropped out the first 4 months.
So you dropped out of the high school.
Yeah, I basically dropped out of high school. I chose not to go.
So at this whole moment that like you chose not to go to high school, you dropped out, doing all of this stuff, what did your parents say and what were they thinking when this whole time period was
That's a good
happening?
question. It was my dad was never around usually because he would be he works out of state, so it would just me and my mom.
Gotcha.
But she had work at night, so I would have
the whole house.
the whole house to myself.
So you're only child, right? Only child.
And I'm an only child, right? So I would invite people over. We'll get fucked up. We'll do stupid shit. But it escalated to the point where honestly, I've always been a hustler. I've always wanted to make money. I used to, my mentality was I'm going to get it regardless. It doesn't matter how. So I ended up resorting to robberies, shit like that. I would steal stuff. And then it escalated to where they found, the cops found out, and then I was charged with 12 different felonies, right? This was when I was 17 and a half. I don't want to say a half because I got caught I got caught September 1st. My birthday is September 15th. So that threshold from 17 to 18. Now, why does this matter? It matters because when you get caught doing, fucking criminal shit, if they find you as an adult, you're going to get
a bigger sentence, yeah.
Right? So they were debating for a whole year. I was in juvenile hall, right? I was in juvenile hall for a whole year fighting my case. I was trying just so I could stay as a juvenile, right? Because imagine if you get 3 years as a juvenile, if you get tried as an adult, you're gonna get like 10. Yeah. Right. So that's a big difference because they look at a 17-year-old. They look at a kid who's under 18 as someone who's young.
Slap on the wrist, nothing crazy.
Yeah, slap on the wrist.
He's young,
he'll learn.
Yeah.
Right. As long as it's nothing, as long as you didn't kill anyone or anything like that, right? Slap on the wrist, whatever, a few years. But when you jump into the adult side, like, dude, they can fuck you over.
Really?
Right? They can definitely fuck you over. That's why my co-D, my crime partner or whatever, he's doing more time than me because he was already 18 when he got caught.
Wow, really? So he's still stuck.
Yeah, so he's still in there until next year or
2022?
Yeah, so I got sentenced as a juvenile. Thank God,
yeah.
Right? So, but I had to fight a whole year.
So how old was he compared to how old were you?
He was already 18.
He's already 18, man.
So just think, okay, just think of two people around the same age, but one's birthday is
a few months later. Yeah.
Right? It was just like that. Right? So I got lucky and I'm very grateful for that, but I did my time, right? 3 years, got sentenced to, I went to Sacramento, I went to Stockton, I went to Ventura, I went to 3 different facilities.
Really?
So first I was in the institution. So if you're in the institution, it's like prison. It's like you go in, you have your own little cell, whatever. You come out for just a few hours a day. Go back in your room. They feed you. You have to ask to go to the bathroom. You go to school in there. Blah blah blah. Now, I got sentenced to 8 years. Okay, what is it? 8? I'm sorry. I got sentenced to 6 years.
6 years.
I got 6 years. So my date that I was supposed to come out was supposed to be September 20th, 2020. So this year.
So yeah, you're just supposed to come out
this year, but I got out 2 years ago.
How?
Because when I was in the institution, they have phases. like they have like grades, not grades, but there's something called A phase, B phase, C phase, D phase.
Mhm.
If you're constantly fighting people, right? You come in all high powered, like,
Yeah.
oh, I bang this, I bang that. You're gonna end up fighting people, right?
Yeah.
Once you fight people, you're gonna get, you get checked on that. So if you don't fight anyone, if you're programming, if you're doing whatever you're doing good, your rank goes up. So I went from D phase to A phase. Now, once you're in A phase, if you're able to maintain that A phase for a couple months, you can apply to get to transfer into a fire camp. So that's what I did. What happens in fire camp is you get every day you spend in fire camp, essentially, you can get a day off.
Mhm.
You can get 1 day off for every day I'm sorry, 2 days off for every day you spend. So if you're in camp for a whole year, that
So
means
what
you're
is fire
essentially-
camp exactly?
I'll tell you right now. So
Okay.
you're essentially doing 2 years if you do 1 year. So what fire camp is, I don't know if you know, but you know how California, we have all these wildland fires?
Yeah.
So 80% of people who actually fight these fires are prisoners, right? They're from adult prisons. My fire camp was the only youth prison camp there was,
Wow.
right? There's the only one standing, the only one that's left, because there aren't many. In order for there to be more, there had to be more youth incarcerated. Not just incarcerated, they have to have they have to have a degree of crime, right? You can't go to prison for shoplifting,
Mhm.
right? I went to prison because I had 12 different felonies.
Gotcha.
I had to take strikes, right? And those are bad. If you get 3 strikes, if you get 2 strikes, the last violent crime you commit, they're automatically going to give you 25 to life.
Wow.
So this was like my last straw, right? I got lucky. And even though I took the strikes, I've told myself I'm not going to do anything stupid when I got out.
Mhm.
Right?
So at this point, you went from high school to the juvie and prison really quickly.
Right.
So during this moment, what did your parents think? Like, did your dad finally find out, and did your mom, like, did she already have an idea or something like that, or how
So-
did that work?
They already knew that I was always on something. So they would always confront me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always be like, nah, like I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like that type of shit. Because my mind was somewhere else, bro. Like I was just on some other shit back then.
Really?
Right? I didn't care.
You didn't care?
Right? I didn't care about anything.
Mhm.
Right? I just wanted to hang out with my homies. I just wanted to get fucked up all day. I wanted to do this and that. I didn't really care about my future. I knew that I was gonna make it somehow. That's the funny part.
Really?
I was just like, I'm gonna rob my way out of it. Or I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna, basically just do criminal activities, because my role models were literally like El Chapo, this and that. Like
Pablo Escobar.
yeah, so those were my role models. So
Mhm.
I was like, damn, I want to be just like them. So I was just bad. Like I was just doing stupid shit. Like I'm not even telling you half of the stuff that I used to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I used to be really bad. So, when I was locked up, just let me tell you this. When you go to prison, you're essentially, depending on what race you are, you're gonna be grouped into
Specific
different
category.
fractions,
Yeah.
sections, whatever. So, being Asian, people who are Asian usually come into prison, and they usually roll with the blacks,
Mm-hmm.
right? But with me, what happened was, because a lot of people asked me in there, he's like, why aren't you with the blacks, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because when I was in juvenile hall, I got really close with 2 of my homies. They're still in jail. They actually got life. So I was cool with them, because what happens is, when you go to juvenile hall, like the juvenile hall that I was in, let me go back. When the juvenile hall that I was in, it's like a whole, it's just think of a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you come in for little petty robberies, whatever, you get sentenced to camp, not fire camp. I'm talking about normal camp.
Mm-hmm.
There's house arrest, camp, prison, right? So what happened was, these people who got little petty charges, they go to camp, they get house arrest. They're on the outsides of it.
Yeah.
When you get charged for murder, attempted murder,
Yeah, all that. The crazy third degrees and all that
the
stuff.
crazy charges,
Yeah.
you get put in the middle.
The middle.
It's called a compound. So you're sitting there waiting to get sentenced, or waiting until you turn 18 so you can go to prison. So that's where I was.
Really?
So I was in there with people my age, bro,
Mm-hmm.
who literally had killed people, did all this bad shit,
Yeah.
and now they're sitting there waiting to go to prison for the rest of their lives.
Wow. So they don't like care at all. They're just there to be there.
Yeah, they don't care. But the crazy thing was, like, I can tell that they were really sad about what they did, but they were just trying to make the best of it. Right? That was really, really, like, being in there. I was one of the only 2 people in there who were actually gonna get out in the next 5 to 10 years. Everybody else had 25. Some guy I met in there, he had 4 life sentences and he was 16 years old.
Dog, that's insane. 16?
He like killed his parents or something. So, you know, I was surrounded by those people while I was in there.
Yeah.
But, you know, it didn't faze me because there were people my age. They just grew up in a different environment, right? Like some of these gang members, they grew up in an environment where they had to do it, right? So, you know, I felt them. I was like, you know what, like, I got to know them. You know, I met a lot of cool people who were really talented. Like, I got my tattoos done in there and everything. So it's like, it's really eye-opening because you start seeing these people who have so much potential, and their lives could have been so much different than their situation.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you too. So when you're in prison for, you said 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So when you're in prison for 3 years, I can't imagine literally sitting in a box for 3 years. What kind of mindset did you have going into it, and then what kind of mindset did you have going out of it?
Going into it,
like, what did you think? Like, what was your mindset? What were you feeling,
don't
thinking?
Get me wrong, I was stressed out at first because the first offer they gave me, bro,
it's like
was 28.
20. Oh my god.
28 with no strikes, nothing. Just clean 28. You get out, and maybe, well, what's half of that?
You know,
14.
Yeah.
14. Yeah, I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna get out when I'm 30. There's no way I'm gonna do that because I didn't even hire a lawyer. It was a public defender, so that made it even worse.
Yeah.
Right. So went back and forth court, back and forth. After a whole year, that's when they're like, okay, we brought it down to 5 to 6, but you have to take this deal. You have to take these strikes, whatever. If you don't take these strikes, if you want a clean slate, then you have to do at least 8 right off the bat. And so I thought about people, my family. I thought about my girl. I'm like, damn, if I really want to get out faster, I have to take these strikes. Strikes are big. I'm telling you, it's a big deal, because let's say you lose your temper on someone.
Yeah.
And you fuck them up.
Yeah.
And they
that's strike
report
1.
you.
Boom. There's 2 left.
If you already have 2 strikes, they can use that. The court can use that against you. Like, you had already been into a rehabilitation fucking center or whatever, and in prison. And now you're doing this. You already have 2 strikes. They can get you for 25 just for punching some guy out because you were mad at him. So
really?
That was something that I had to really decide. I was like, you know, I'm just whatever, just give it to me.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get out in 5. Like, I knew that if I had 5 to 6, I'd get out in 3. If I had 8, I'd get out in 4 or 5.
So you're already like kind of calculating it.
I was just thinking, like, damn, whatever. I'll thug it out. I'll do 3. Right? It's fine. I'm not gonna do anything else that's stupid when I get out. Right?
But you're very blessed, man. From 28 to 3
I know
is a very good deal.
Like, only because, like, they like to throw these little offers at first. They like to just see. I don't know. Like she had said, like, it's 28 now. I know you don't want to take it. I wouldn't recommend you to take it. But if you want to get less time, you're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to keep fighting it. You're gonna have to keep doing good. So, bro, I was literally praying every single day.
Yeah.
Right. I was literally praying every single day. I was like, God, like, if you give me the second chance, like, I'll do good in life. Right. Promise you. I promised God. I was like, you know what, dude, like, I will do good.
Yeah.
If I get a light sentence, like, if I can see my family again soon. Right. Because long story short, I didn't know I was gonna get hit with that much time. So at first I was like, I'm gonna get out next month. Like, I thought that they didn't get me for everything that I did. In fact, they did. It was like the second court date when she came up and she's like,
you did XYZ.
I came in with 1 charge. She came back a month later. You have 12 different charges. Jeez. You have 12 robberies, 2 assaults.
Yeah.
You had a previous assault case.
Man, dude.
You had 3 different misdemeanors when you were a junior in high school. So they're looking at you and they're thinking, this kid does not know how to act. This kid does not belong in society.
Mm-hmm.
This kid needs to be put away for as long as we can, right? So that was their mentality. So I had to fight that. Obviously, I got 5 to 6. I got out in 3.
So okay, when you got out, what's like the first, like, explain to me what the first week looks like. But before even that, I want your mindset was the last week of jail. What did you think?
No, let me go back and tell you this. So when I got locked up, I was pretty chunky,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm kind of getting a little bigger now, but when I was in prison, bro, all I focused on was my body, meaning I was working out every single day faithfully.
Yeah.
I'll do 500 push-ups. I would start with like 20 push-ups a day because I wasn't really working out like that at first.
Yeah.
I couldn't build that endurance because I was always smoking cigarettes, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I felt like my lungs were fucked up. So I went from 20 push-ups a day to 50 to 100
The 500.
to 1,000, and then after 1,000 push-ups, I jump into like 100 burpees a day, 200 burpees a day. So I would literally discipline myself because that's what you're
Discipline.
doing. You're conditioning your body, but you're also disciplining
Your
mind.
mindset.
You're committing yourself to a routine, and you're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Right. That's what kept me. I don't want to say sane because you don't go insane going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what kept me motivated, was to just work out every single day. Right. I came out with this. I came out with the 6-pack, everything. I was
Jacked.
I was jacked right when I came out. I was so cut. I even have pictures. So I got out. A week before I got out, though, I was scared. I was like, wow, I just missed out on 3 years of my life. Now everybody who is my age is 3 years ahead of me. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, everyone's 3 years ahead of me. How am I gonna look when I get out? Even though people are gonna be happy, like, hey, you're out. It's still like, shit, I'm behind.
You're behind.
I'm so behind, right? That's when I realized, like, I had to figure out a way to hustle and make money legitly, like, the right way.
Yeah.
Right. So I got a job at a packaging little warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting paid like $80 a day.
$80
I was only
a day.
working for like 3 days because, keep in mind, who's gonna hire a person coming straight out of jail with felonies under his name?
So you have to find like the jobs that, like, no
even
one's willing to take.
I can't even get a job at McDonald's right now if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
They'll look at my background and be like, "No, we're good, right? We don't need someone like that." So just that simple fact that society was telling me that I couldn't be something, like they were labeling me as someone who essentially isn't able to achieve anything great in life because of the fact that he did something bad. Now he has a record. Now I can't. Now there's no way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what people who come out of jail think. With records, they're like, oh man, I can't get a job. So what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna go back to my old environment
and do it exactly.
That's why the recidivism rate is so high for when people who come out of jail. Listen, they told me before I got out, they're like, we'll see you again.
Really, they said that?
Yeah. So
I'll be pissed.
So because it was so common. It's common still, right? But they do have programs now that are trying to help people who are in prison. I want to get into that. So they have programs now that help you, because I had people come in, like there's this guy named Scott Budnick. He produced The Hangovers, all the Hangovers, Project X.
Okay.
He's a prison activist. He's a prison reformer.
So he
comes in and tells people, like, gives them hope, shit like that. Like, when you get out, we might have jobs for you. Basically giving them hope and, telling them that they can make something out of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Get them out of that situation.
Yeah.
Right. So I got out. Let me go back to, I got out. I became a server after I did the warehouse thing. I was working in Santa Clarita, sushi server. I was making like fucking $1,300 every 2 weeks.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I wasn't really making much. I thought I was making good money.
Yeah. At the time, you feel like, okay,
let
I'm
me tell you something too. When I
well
was
off.
in camp, they were paying me $1 an hour for fighting those fires.
Really?
So I was essentially like a slave, bro.
Pretty much.
Yeah, people who are like watching this, you can actually like look up on YouTube prison fire camps, right? We're all in a little fire bus, cramped up in a fire bus. We gotta go to fires. We're literally on the fire line, 24 hours.
Wow.
Right? We sleep on the dirt. We get paid $1 an hour in exchange for time cuts.
Yeah.
Right? So, but don't get me wrong. Even though it was pretty much modern day slavery, it taught me the value of working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It taught me the value of hard days, of what a hard day's work feels like.
Yeah, it humbles you.
feels.
It figures it
Exactly.
makes you like, okay, I've seen this, I experienced it. I don't want to do it again.
Exactly. So I got out with that mentality that like I know hard work can get me somewhere, right? Because I felt very accomplished when I was in fire camp and I was moving up, because I was first, you start off in the back of the line. You're using little shovels, and then I moved up to where I was using chainsaws. I was cutting down trees. So it was a good experience. I don't want to say I had a bad time in there. I didn't. Honestly, I'm gonna say that I did have a decent experience in there, because I learned, like I said, I learned the value of hard work. I met a lot of people. I'm still friends with some of them now who got out, and they're doing very well for themselves. Some of them are working in the union. So just by me telling that, you can see that if you want to change your life, you have to make the choice to do it, right? You can ultimately change your life. You just have to want to.
Yeah.
Right. So how did I get into like entrepreneurship, for example?
Yeah. So 1 second before you went, so you started from a warehouse worker, went to a server at a sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
So, explain to me the sushi restaurant. Where was this? 2018.
2018, yeah.
To a 6-figure earner on your company and stuff like that. So explain to me where that process started and how did it get to where it's at right now.
So I had funny story. I had a coworker who was really into stocks. He told me, because what I was doing was every week I would spend my money at the casino.
Wow.
I would drive myself to the casino and spend it all.
Really?
Even if I lost it, I'd make some, then I'll lose it. He's like, bro, if you're gonna spend your money like that, might as well invest it into the stock market. That's when he showed me his portfolio, stuff like that. He had like $11,000 in his bank account, and at that time I was
a lot of money.
I was like, oh my gosh, how did you even get that?
Exactly.
How do you get that money?
Yeah.
Show me how to do it. He's like, oh, my mom gave it to me. I was like, oh, figures. But guess what? So I took his advice, downloaded the app, whatever, started really learning. This was when crypto, this was when Bitcoin
was booming.
Was not necessarily booming, but it
About
was still
that 20K mark.
People were still talking about it.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into it. Started learning. Started literally a day after that. I was literally doing my research on stocks, everything.
Wow. Okay.
Found Instagram groups, this and that. That's when I started learning. I spent the next 6 months just learning while I was working. Then what happened was I came across. I was saving my money at this point too. I kept putting it in my brokerage account.
Okay.
So, and I was also doing Postmates, Lyft. Not Lyft. Postmates, DoorDash on the side.
Yeah.
And every hour that I had that doesn't go towards sleep, I would use that either towards learning stocks or towards working Postmates, DoorDash, or anything else that was able to provide
a side hustle, something that could get you some kind of.
I wanted to get money from everywhere.
Everything,
I didn't want to just sit around and not make anything. Why? Because like I said earlier, I was 3 years behind everybody else my age. So I wanted to.
So you were just on it.
I was on it because I wanted to work 3 times as. Because 3 years, I wanted to work 3 times as hard as everybody else did.
Yeah.
So I can catch up the next year, right? That was my mentality. Started getting into stocks, investing my money, literally saving it, and then that's when I started really getting really good at trading. Like, I learned online. I didn't learn from anybody else, right? A lot of people have their mentors, whatever. No, I learned myself. Every time I lost money, I would hustle twice as hard to get it back.
Gotcha.
And I would put it back into the stock market just so I can get it right?
Yeah.
So eventually I figured out different strategies that worked for me, And what I was doing was I was teaching people using that same strategy so they can make money. That's how my group started. So my group.
So at this point, were you actually, generating consistent profits?
Yeah, I was
with
making
your
a few
trading?
hundred here and there. I was making a few $100s a day. Because keep in mind, I wasn't making much as a server, even doing Postmates and even doing DoorDash. I was making very little. But with very little I had, I saved it and I was able to kind of flip it here and there. I make like on a $5,000 to $10,000 account, I would make $200 profit one day. I lose $20 the next day. I kept my losses very short, and then I would win 300 the next day, 400, and all compounds, right?
Yeah.
So after a few months, I got a good amount to trade with. But what I would do is, with the profits every week, I would take some of those profits and I'll put it in my savings account. Right. So I was kind of moving. I was always moving money. Like even to this day, I'm always moving money here and there. So what happened was, that's when I formed my group, which wasn't even a company yet. So what happened was, I was looking at these Instagram groups, and I was looking at these people who were charging other people to be in their groups for information that they essentially got for free.
Yeah.
And they weren't even helping them make money. They were just giving out their input, like, oh, this and this. They weren't necessarily kind of giving out like signals or whatever. So they weren't essentially helping people make money, right? I figured, I was like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own group.
Yeah.
I've seen that I'm able to be this consistent. Why can't I help someone else be consistent too?
Yeah.
So my group was free. At first it was free.
Really?
I had like 100 people in there. And then I went up I started charging people $5 to be in there. So I had like 100 people paying me $5 a month to be in there. And then after a few months, my group grew, and someone had told me, you're providing way too much value for what you're charging.
Really?
Because there were other groups out there that were charging hundreds of dollars every month doing what you're doing.
So you saw that.
That's when I upped my price. I upped my price to like $20, $30.
Really?
And then eventually it went up to 40. Now it's 65. Right? So, but the point is, even to this day, like, even if you look at my page, like, I'm not afraid to show people kind of my strategies, how I make money, because essentially all the information that I got was free.
Yeah. You're basically recycling that information.
Yeah. With trading, especially, it's not about what you know in terms of, your charts or anything like that. It's executing, being able to perform at an optimal level every single day, being able to be like kind of like clear-minded, right? Being able to, when you're trading, you're essentially working towards self-mastery. That's what I look at it as, because I've learned so much about myself just from trading, right? I've learned that I'm very impatient sometimes. I learned that I get mad easily, right? I learned that if I lose a certain amount of money, I like to chase it. So you learn a lot of things about yourself, right? So once you start figuring out that these are all of these, it's essentially what's not necessarily wrong with you, but you have to work on these. So I started working on them, and that's when I became a better trader and a better person, in my opinion, because I started looking at how I kind of what do I say? I was kind of like, I meditate now, for example. Let me just tell you that I meditate now. I was never into meditating, bro. Like, now I meditate. Now, I take deep breaths before I say something, before I want to say something stupid. Now I think about it.
Think about it.
Right? I'm always using my ears now and less my mouth. Right? I don't really talk much. I like to listen. I like to see where people's heads are at. So I'm more, I analyze things more, because I'm so used to looking at like charts, for example. Now I analyze people, right? I want to
use that same tool that you use for your charts and your trading
in my life,
and now you're using that as a life tool,
everyday life, right? But what really kind of made my company, as big as it is now, is the fact that I was giving value left and right, and people will go to my page and they'll learn so much things that they have no choice but to buy my product.
Really?
Because they can't get enough. Right? That's what I focused on. I focused on providing people value, right? So now I'm having multiple income streams, this is when I really started making decent money, right? This is when I started making $3K a month.
So explain
4K
that
a
one, the part where you went from a couple of hundred to your first 10K. So did that go all through teaching, or was that through teaching and trading, or
both.
how did that work out?
Both. So
And how long did it take?
I was making it maybe after 3 months of having the group, I was able to see 10K. No, I'm sorry. That's way too short of a time frame. A year after I made my group was when I really established myself on Instagram, and that's when I really started making decent money, like over 5 to 10. Right? It fluctuates, right? Because I come out with different products, people buy my guides, they like it, right? It's all about marketing. Me, I'm a word of mouth kind of guy, so I don't really do a lot of like Instagram advertisements too much. I don't really do that because I feel like in my industry,
It comes off as a scam.
yeah, compared to other people, it's like I don't really want to put myself out there, and I don't want to be in your on your Instagram, on your advertisements talking about join my group, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. If someone likes my group, he's gonna tell his friend.
Yeah.
That friend is gonna tell his friend.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's a
all
snowball.
yeah, exactly. So what's the word for it? Authentic growth.
Authentic, organic, you know.
Organic growth. There you go. So I'm going into advertisements now, but you know, like you get a lot of people on social media who like, you know, they'll buy into different articles, things like that. I'm not really like that, even though I could.
Yeah.
It's just like I want people to feel the authenticity, and I want people to see that I'm real. Like I keep it blunt, right? I'm very blunt. I like to keep it real. Like if I'm teaching somebody and I see that he's not learning, I'll tell him straight up, like, bro, you need to step up your game, because you know, at this rate you're not gonna learn anything.
Exactly.
Right? You need to want this, right? So I'm very nowadays I'm very like hard on people too, especially because I've been in the educational space for like a year now, so I've dealt with so many people.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with so many different personalities. I've dealt with fake people. I've dealt with people who try to take my company down. I've dealt with people who's attempted to help me build my company but want half of it. And that's kind of dumb, because I grew it, right? I'm the one who got it started. And those people didn't really have enough value for me to want to give them a portion of my company. If I had done that, bro, because this was like 7 months ago, then I wouldn't make as much money as I'm making now.
Yeah, and be in the position where you were.
It would kind of stress me out too, because I would think like, oh man, yeah, I have these people who own this much of my company, and if I scale it big enough, they're gonna get more, but they didn't really work for that money, right? Because like I said, I felt like they didn't bring enough value to the table, right? If I'm gonna give someone half of my company, they have to be either big, they have to know what they're doing, they have to show me that they can provide, you know, more people to come in, or they can give me some type of value that is considered a good return on investment. Because when you let somebody in your company and have power within your company, you're investing in them.
Exactly.
And they have to give you a return on that investment, because they're getting a return on the company. They're taking a chunk of it. So I felt like they didn't provide me any value. So then, you know, I've had people try to take people from me. So I've dealt with a lot of things that comes along with like growing a business.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not, dude. There's so many times when I felt like I wanted to give up, because I was like, dang, like these people aren't making money. These people aren't learning.
Every excuse under the book.
Yeah, everything. Like,
yeah.
Like sometimes life just hits you with some bullshit, and then you really gotta just thug it out. You gotta go through it, because you know, seasons come and go, and you have to weather the storm to see the rainbow. So that was my mentality when I was in prison too. I looked at it as a storm. I was like, I have to get through this to see the rainbow.
Yeah.
So it ties into business too, because you're gonna get days and months where you don't make shit,
Yeah.
where you have, you're not able to produce, but you gotta go through those months, because maybe somewhere in that time frame you figure out, you know, the oddball in your business, or not necessarily a person, but I'm talking about like something that's flawed in your business that you can change, right? So I feel like you have to go through these tough times to be able to kind of get yourself out of it and make it better.
Yeah.
So
You optimize it.
yeah, you have to see, oh, one thing too, like I had to, for about a month or two, I had to step out of my, not step out of my business, but just kind of take a step back and take a look at my life, right? Because
Reflect on it.
I was grinding for like a whole year. I was grinding so hard that I forgot, like I kind of forgot what life is like. Like I was literally at my house, like grinding the
Yeah.
whole year.
That's similar to me, man. Where like, in terms of my business and stuff like that, I started it, and I told myself, I'm either gonna be a 6-figure earner in 1 year from now, or I'm gonna be dead. I didn't give myself another option.
Right.
I didn't say I'm gonna make $50,000 and okay, cool, I'll make $50,000. I'm reaching for that goal, and nothing's gonna stop me. I'm the same way. I was locked in my room, locked in. I said nothing will distract me. I will become a 6-figure when I walk out of this door. I stood a whole year in a box. It's similar like prison. And I said, I'm not coming out of this room until I make a 6-figure earning company.
Right.
And that's something that we kind of share in common, is like we grind, we don't stop until we achieve our goal.
One thing I want to mention too, especially for people who are going through shit, for example, you have to go through things that essentially destroy you in order for you to be able to rebuild yourself.
Oh my God, it's so
Right.
true. It's so true.
I had to go through that prison stage because it destroyed me as a person.
Yeah.
It literally threw me in a bottom in a pit, and I had to get myself out of it. So that destroyed me. Also because I couldn't spend time with my family, I couldn't go to school, even though that's not what I wanted to do. I'm just saying.
But just
right?
yeah.
It completely destroyed me, right? So now I basically fell off the face of the earth. Like no one knows what I'm doing for 3 years. No one knows about me, right? So that really destroyed me. And when I got out, it was all like up to this day, I think of it as like I was growing. I was literally growing, right? I didn't just stumble across this company. Even if I didn't have this company,
you would figure something out.
I would still be making 6 figures.
Yeah.
Every month.
I feel like anyone that has a 6-figure company, you could take it away from them like that, and they'll be able to build it right back up and do something else.
Exactly, because I already understand the foundation of it. I understand how to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
That's similar to the people that win the lottery. You see them, 90% of them go broke,
Dude,
like, first couple, months. It's because they never, built a foundation for themselves where they could build a company and generate a profitable return.
Right.
They just work, win the lottery, blow their cash. Now they go back to work.
Right.
People like us, we've started from the bottom, started from $0 in our bank account, went to 6 figures. So if you take that number from us away, we could literally just start it back up. We have that foundation and the fundamental tools to do that.
We know, we understand the work that has to get done, that has to be done in order to produce that kind of income. And if I was in trading, or if I didn't have my company, I would go work out and I'll sell workout courses.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
As long as it's legal, obviously now, right? But it's just that mentality, bro. The hunger, bro. I told you this, but I'm gonna say it again. My first year of getting out of prison, right, while I was going through that stage of working in the warehouse, server, finally getting the company, finally kind of establishing it, bro, I would listen to music all the time. Like that's my favorite. That's still my favorite thing to do. I like to take drives. I like to listen to music, meaningful music. I listen to rap, so I listen to a lot of like Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
So honestly, like he's one of the main reasons why I am the person I am today.
Really?
Just through his music, because he came out of the streets. He got it out the mud. He was able to establish himself, and he's all about, you know, manifesting your success. He's all about, you know, hustling. He's all about inspiring people at the same time. So, bro, I would listen to music and I would cry in my car while I was driving not because I'm a pussy or anything like that, but because I was so mad at myself for not trying.
Yeah.
I knew, you know, okay, whoever, if you're watching that, you know when you're not trying, right? If you're not trying, then you would know.
You know it.
You already know it. Like, you know inside you right now. If you're not trying, then you know.
Yeah.
Right? So I knew that I could be going so much harder. I deserve more. I've been through so much. I deserve this. Right? You keep telling yourself that you're going to believe it. And once you believe it, you're going to produce that work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're attracting that energy. Right? That's why it's important to kind of surround yourself with people who have the same mindset as you, or people who are doing better than you.
I firmly believe that.
Because if you're hanging out with people who aren't doing much for themselves, and I don't mean to talk anybody down. It's just that you haven't woken up yet.
Yeah.
You haven't been hurting enough yet, or you haven't made the decision yet, or you're too lazy. But if you're hanging out with these people who aren't doing anything productive, you're surrounding yourself, or people who are doing drugs, you're surrounding yourself with bad energy.
Yeah.
Right? When you're surrounding yourself with bad energy, you become who you surround with.
Yeah.
So that energy is gonna come to you. So now you're gonna have bad energy around you. You're not gonna do the work because you're gonna be busy doing something else that's not productive with them. But when you surround yourself with people who are actually doing things in life, their energy is gonna come onto you. And then you're going to be inspired and motivated to work harder.
Yeah. Right? That's what I'm doing with this house, man. This hustle house isn't just a house where I bring people on and tell them how to build a company and cash flow them and tell them to go home. I'm surrounding themselves with people like you, people that are determined, people that have seen struggle and have them basically, you know, coincide with what you're doing and understand that your energy is going to be rubbing off on them. These people that are in this house are like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, they're killing it, bro.
They're killing it.
This guy was on the phone. This guy was on the phone for like the past 4 hours.
He came to the house and he literally saw him from the moment he got here to the moment until we started this podcast. He was on the phone locking in people and clients. I personally live with him. He was up at 5 a.m. talking to someone and trying to lock him in into, you know, his company, his business. So people are like that, like what he was saying back then.
17, bro. Back
17 years old.
I was robbing people.
I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally playing basketball and I had $100 to my name, probably less than that, honestly. That's what I'm trying to do with this house. Is I'm trying to have people like, you know, gravitate toward them and they understand, like, you know, if you surround yourself with 5 millionaires, the odds of you being the sixth one is very, very high.
You're gonna be the sixth.
Exactly.
Especially if you work.
Exactly.
Right?
And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are already talking about this, productive, doing all this kind of informational, like, you know, services and stuff like that, they're going to make sure that they surround themselves and they do that stuff too. I'm over here, one second. I'm over here working very, very hard. I'm working harder than everyone else. And when they see that I'm working hard, they know that once you make a lot of money, it's not like you just sit back in an island and relax. You say, why is he working so hard? He already made a lot of money, right? He already has 6 figures. He already had so much money. Why is he working so hard? Then why shouldn't I be working hard? I'm in the dirt right now.
Right.
And this guy already has a built successful company that's cash flowing 6 figures. Why am I in the dirt and not working as hard as this guy right now? There's no excuse for that.
Right.
And so when they see that, they feel bad about themselves and then they start working hard as well.
Right.
So that's what basically this whole house is about, is trying to provide yourself with a good energy flow, as well as, you know, build your own company. So I'm literally hand on hand, you know, doing everything like that.
This is just the beginning, bro. Like, this is something that you can actually expand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, one thing I want to mention too. So when you're in terms of surrounding yourself with good energy, it doesn't necessarily have to be physically with people. So what I do is, like, every day, right, I'd either read something like a book or an article that has to do with success, that has to do with, I like to read biographies of these billionaires and how they came up. And I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to books, like audiobooks, when I'm on the drive. And I only listen to music that
is meaningful,
gives me good energy and it's meaningful. Right? So just by doing those 3, you're already surrounding yourself with what you should be surrounding yourself.
You don't need to be sitting with a millionaire
You don't
need to be-
necessarily have to.
exactly.
If you can, you should.
Yeah.
But I feel like you don't necessarily have to. As long as you're motivated and you're willing to for example, a lot of people go about their lives and every day, you know, you go to work, you come back from work, you go home, you play video games, you watch Netflix, you go to sleep.
Same 10, 15 things.
Exactly, bro. So you need to get out of that matrix.
That little, yeah, it keeps you circled. It keeps you trapped inside this vortex.
It's literally a trap, bro. Like, it's literally, for example, if you're making like what, fucking $3,000 a month, just imagine how much you're gonna make in a year, which is $36,000, right? That's not including taxes. You have to think about taxes, and let's say you want to become a millionaire, being in that job, 36,000 times 3 is what?
90, 100K.
Not even 100,000. That's 3 years of your life.
3 years.
Not even 100. Don't
So that'd be 30 years.
let's round it up to 100. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's round it up, and let's say taxes did not exist. So 100,000. That's 3 years. 6 years, 200,000.
It comes out to 30.
Nine-
Just times 10.
Not how many years would it take you to make $1 million?
Yeah, like 30 years.
30 years
Yeah.
to make 1 million, dude. No,
That's
that's not the move. That's definitely not the move.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
It's
people
crazy.
don't even know how to invest their money, how to compound it, right? Because if you essentially put like $5,000 into a brokerage account, or put it in a Roth IRA, and you invest $500 every single month for the next 30 years,
Yeah.
and you invest it into something that can produce you 10% annually, bro, you can have like a million or more in that account in 30 years, because what it's doing is it's compounding, and you're not working for that.
Yeah.
That's money you put aside. Don't compare that to the example that we talked about earlier, where you're actually showing up to work every day, working to make $1 million in 30 years. No, this is money that you put aside. It's just growing on the
It's
side.
just growing.
So while it's growing on the side, you should find other side hustles. If you're not the type to want to build companies, you should just have other side hustles and put the profits from those side hustles, invest it, right, so that you can have money growing here while you're working here.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 streams of income, right? And maybe in 10 years, since let's say if you're not making more than like $100,000 a year, right? What you should do is you need to create more side hustles to get you to that $8,000 a month, so that you can produce. You don't have to be a business owner to become a 6-figure earner. You just have to have multiple streams of income.
Really, it's
right?
not easy.
Like, for example, I can be really big on Instagram, but not make money off of my Instagram posts, but I can sell products.
Yeah.
Right? I can be working as a construction worker, making $40 an hour, making essentially 80 grand a year, maybe 80, 70. But on the side with my social media, I'm bringing in $2,000 a week or a month. That's on top of that 80 grand. So you're already making 6 figures in a year just off of those 2.
Yeah.
So people need to start thinking of like outsourcing, just trying to make, just create more
diversify,
income streams, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, like, they're just like, oh, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know.
Yeah, people just don't know what's out there because they're just stuck in that little vortex, like we said. But once you see YouTube videos about it, once you start, researching, like how you did when you started as a server at a sushi restaurant,
Right.
how you started researching and diving deep into a field, a niche, and understanding that, look, there's a money to be made in every single like industry.
Right.
You don't have to work. You can literally have this internet thing. People still don't understand. It's 2020 and there's still people working
You can make so
at
much money.
Taco Bell. It's 2020 and people are still working at Taco Bell. It doesn't make sense to me because everything you need to know, I've built every single thing I've ever done in my entire life on YouTube and Google. Nothing else, man.
Right.
And I don't understand why other people can't just do the same thing. The one reason I think is because they're in that vortex and they don't want to do anything. They're just in that vortex. Netflix, let's go party, let's go to the movie theater, let's go have fun, let's go pop bottles, let's go live that lifestyle. But they don't, educate and, refresh their brain that there's more things out there in life than just that little circle of things that they're already doing.
Right.
Still doesn't make sense to me to this day, man.
I feel like, man, people, like, for example, if you're good at something, right, you can always monetize that something.
Exactly.
Always. You can always, whatever it is you're good at, you can make money from it. You're good at drawing. Oh, shit. Do graphics for someone. Charge them. Scale. Go to big companies. Ask to see if they need graphics.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sign a contract with them, whatever.
Boom. There you go.
If you're good at making beats, hey, a lot of people think it's hard to get to where they need to be, but you just need to be relentless, right? You just need to just keep going. Like, you need to be that guy who will stay in front of the door. If someone closes the, like, if you're canvassing, you're doing door knocking, you need to be that guy who's not gonna take no for an answer, right? You're gonna get a lot of no's, but you should have that mentality. It's like, I'm gonna get to where I need to be, and I'm not gonna take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to be that guy that's relentless, because some people, they get a no. Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe it's not for me.
Maybe it's not for me. Oh, okay. I'll try again. No, you need to fucking get that shit now.
Yeah.
Right.
My whole life, everyone, my whole life told me no. My teachers, my parents, everyone, my family, my uncles, relatives, my whole life. Boss. I had a boss that literally just didn't believe in me. No one believed in me. My whole freaking friend group all made fun of me when I started my marketing company. They used to talk about, oh, what the heck? What's your logo? Is that a kangaroo or something like that? And they always used to laugh in the car.
Yeah.
And I was
look
like,
at him now.
yeah, that's cute. Wait, just wait. That's all a little fire that burns and kindles, and
Exactly.
I feel it. I still feel it to this day. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because I
Exactly.
remember these conversations. And now these guys are in my DM asking me for advice and help and
Right.
a little meal ticket. But where were you when I was over there struggling and talking about my little kangaroo company? Yeah.
Right.
You know, now this company is generating almost $500,000, revenue, and it's
Right.
really nice. But you gotta understand that people don't believe in you at the beginning. It's crazy. It's just insane.
People need to know
still-
too, like, where people our age, we're the next generation,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of people are so consumed with society nowadays, so consumed with everything that's going on in society in terms of entertainment, in terms of, like, you will know more about Kim Kardashian's life than she does, because you're always watching it.
Oh my God, man.
You're so busy, you're so fixated on being her consumer by watching her stuff, making her money by using your time. You're literally wasting
Your time on this
that
planet.
you could spend.
Yeah.
Not even just that, just your time. That's just, you're spending an hour, 2 hours a day. That's, if you multiply that by 365, you're spending fucking
Whatever,
1,000 hours
36, whatever.
a year watching fucking Kim Kardashian, when you could have put that 1,000 hours into learning one single business, and you could have been a fucking master at it.
And
That whole
it's
year
that
just-
easy too. It's not even rocket
That's what I'm
science.
saying. You just
It
have to
really
dedicate
isn't.
a little bit of time. That little bit of time will add up. That's people's number one fucking excuse. I don't have time.
I don't have time. I'm busy.
What do you mean you don't have time? You're telling me you don't have an hour a day? You don't have two? You just don't want it bad enough. That's it. You just
It's
don't
that
fucking
easy.
want it bad enough. You know what I mean?
I love that excuse. I don't have time.
Right.
I'm too busy. I got too much going on.
Not right now.
Yeah, but they love going to the club for like 4 hours and
Right.
just partying, They
Right.
love going out to, I don't have time, but it's my granddaughter's birthday. Like, come on, man. Let's be honest here. What kind of priorities do you have, and what do you have going on in your life that's so important? If Jeff Bezos has time to wake up in the morning and eat breakfast with his family, why don't you have 1 hour in your day?
Right.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to
It
me.
doesn't.
So another thing I'm really big on is never giving excuses to anything.
Right.
I'm always make myself like, I'm responsible for anything that happens to my life. My car gets keyed, for example. My car gets hit right now on my parking way. It's my fault for not putting it in the garage. I'll never make an excuse to like say, oh, it was parked. It's okay, man. It happened. I don't know what happened. Never make an excuse.
Right.
It's my fault for not putting it in the garage.
Also, holding yourself accountable is a very key thing too, and just responsibility, being responsible, and having the right priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you're not on track in your life, you need to get your priorities straight. I mean, I'm one to talk because, my priorities are kind of like all over the place, but I'm starting to focus on my credit now.
Yeah.
Right, back then I never gave a two rats about my credits.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I care, because now I can literally buy multiple houses, but I can't because
Your credit's not there.
so shitty.
Same like me. I made a lot of money really fast. I didn't even know how to file for taxes. I even established an LLC.
Right.
I haven't done
Same.
credit. I haven't done anything. I just was really good at what I did, and I did it very, very well for a lot of people, and I made a lot of money. I didn't know anything, and that's something that you have to learn, but it comes with experience.
Right.
I never learned any of this stuff.
Right. The power, like, also, even with taxes, like, I was never big on taxes, but I've been recently, because I've been doing all my research. I probably know as much as almost a tax guy now, right? But also, social media is so strong because you can find people who are sharing the same interests as you, who might be a tax accountant.
Yeah.
And they're willing to do you a solid and get yours done for you for free. That's the power of social media, like networking, right? I have someone fixing my credit right now for me for free, because I'm able to help him make money in the stock market.
Yeah.
Right? I can get favors from people because what I'm doing is I'm providing them value. And to them, that's the least they can do in return. Right? So I feel like if you become a person who is very valuable to people, right, you're going to go a long way, because, for example, like these hedge fund managers, people who manage billions of dollars on Wall Street, bro, they're making millions year. I'm talking about 50, 60, 70, some make billions a year. Why do they make billions even though they're not working as hard as a farmer? Even though farmers work fucking 60, 50-hour weeks. Why? Because the manager has more value than the farmer, even though the farmer is doing what he's supposed to do.
He has all
even though he's experienced, even though he's making crops, you can always replace him with someone else. You can't replace the guy that's making all of his investors millions of dollars. You can't replace that kind of value. That's what separates that hard work will get you rich thing. It depends on the work. Right? It depends. Are you replaceable? Right? The farmer's replaceable, right? The guy who works at the gas station, even though he's working 60-hour weeks, he's expendable, right? The doctor, he's not that expendable, right? The surgeons, they're making so much because they had to learn to get to where they are. And even though some of them, maybe you have, for example, like just nurses. Some nurses make like $50, $80, $100 an hour. Right? Because they had to study for that, and they're not as easily replaceable as someone who works at a gas station, where you literally you can get into without no prior experience. Right? Now, for example, when you build businesses, you're going through all that ups and downs. You know what the business is like. You know how to scale your business. You learned it through experience. You built it yourself. Now, now let's say you're just chilling, like you're making good money now, and you compare you to someone who's working 4 times as hard as you are, but they're working at Target or they're working somewhere else. They're expendable. I'm not expendable.
Yeah, and that's what you have to kind of establish for yourself.
Right.
Am I replaceable? Can someone erase me from their company like a snap of a finger? If so, is that really what you want to be, and is that really what you want to be doing?
Yeah.
For me, like, I'm an owner. I hire employees. I do all that stuff. I erase people really, really quickly if they're not working hard enough, or I don't like the way that they're approaching my clients or potential clients. I'll erase them really quickly. But you can't erase a person that built that whole system.
Right.
Right,
because you can't just erase that person from that company. He knows the ins and outs of that business. If you replace him with someone else, he's not going to know the ins and outs of that business, even though he might be as knowledgeable. That's still not his business.
Yeah.
He's had personal, intimate relationships with, I'm talking about like business relationships with people in the company. He's had, spent time with people who works at that company, so he's
Experience and
different.
everything.
You can't just replace something like that, right? So just like people who say, oh, Jeff Bezos, he has so much money, like why doesn't he, for example, I'm going to give 2 examples. Why is he's not, like, for example, like people who aren't really, like I said before, people who aren't doing much but they're making a shitload of money versus someone who's working really hard but they're working somewhere where they're getting minimum wage. It's because you are not as valuable as this
person.
guy. If you want to make as much money as this guy, switch to another industry, or build your own business to where you can become valuable.
Yeah, figure out a skill.
Yeah.
Master something that you can provide to other people and charge for that mastery that you already have in your brain.
Exactly. There's no skill set that's required to work at Target that makes you unreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
There's a skill set though, but when you own your own business, when you run hedge funds, this and that, you have to be able to be good with people, with money, this and that. So like I said, or people also, like, people. One thing that I don't really like when people talk about wealthy people, like billionaires, things like that. Some of them are always like, oh, why can't they donate their money?
They have so much money.
They have so much. People have to understand that although some of them might have a lot of money and they choose not to give it away, which is, shame on them.
Mm-hmm.
But still, some of these people, their money is tied up in their assets, right? No one keeps $1 billion in the bank account. FDIC only insures like $250,000 worth of your money.
Yeah.
Right. You can always move money everywhere. You can put money in this bank, this. You have your own private banks, but still, no one's gonna keep that amount liquid, accessible easily.
Yeah.
Right. Because what happens is your wealth, like for example, if you build a company from the ground up and that company ends up being worth like $100 million,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be a part of your net worth too, depending on how much ownership you have in that company. If you own 100% of the company,
You have 100 million.
you're worth 100 million. But is it in my pocket?
No.
In the bank? No, it's
In
the
that company.
It's that company, right? So when I see people like on Twitter, on social media, always complaining about, hey, blah blah blah, Jeff Bezos,
Trillionaire.
billionaire, why can't you donate this? What have you donated?
First of all, before you point out fingers, what
What
have
have you donated? Right? People like Elon Musk, billionaires, Oprah, I don't know, whatever. If they have a successful empire, right? They're there for they're there for a reason, even though some of their practices might not be. You might not look at it as good in the public's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You're still buying Amazon stuff, right? Without them, without Jeff Bezos, you wouldn't have Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right? Without Elon, you wouldn't have Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have these car companies who are expeditiously trying to get their electric cars out, competing with Tesla. If you never had Tesla in the first place, these car companies
wouldn't
even
transfer and
exactly
to electric or to
right.
Yeah, to electric.
People who make impacts on the world are the ones who essentially become
The most successful
in terms of net worth, whatever.
I see it as you make $1 million, but if you can make other people $1 million, you're way more valuable.
Exactly.
Because a millionaire is always is going to be a millionaire. He could go buy a nice house, buy a nice mansion, whatever, cool. But not until he helps other people become a millionaire is when he's a true hero and a true success.
Right.
Because he helped 10 other people, whatever the number is, become successful and feed mouths and help people and, impacted 10 other lives. And that's probably what's more important at the end of the day.
Providing the value.
Value.
Money comes, bro. The
money comes, exactly. When you're providing value, you'll probably even be more rich than just a millionaire.
Exactly.
If you teach 10 other people to be a millionaire, you don't think they're going to gain some kind of knowledge and gain some kind of monetary value for that? You're going to gain some monetary value from having other people become millionaires as well. So that's how I see it sometimes, You provide value and it works. What's good, guys? I want to ask you a question for the viewers at home. Like, say there's like
You can go.
No, go. You're good. Hurry up. So say for the average, viewer, he's just watching this 18-year-old from Houston. He's making $200 a week, working, 30, 40 hours. What advice would you give to, that kid from Houston right there, the 18-year-old from Houston?
Find something you're good at. Okay, you must be good at something.
There has to be something, bro.
Right? You have to. Depends on what your goals are in life too, right? Because people get this messed up. If you don't want to be financially secure, then so be it. Do you, right? There's nothing wrong with working at Burger King's if you love flipping fucking burgers. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you're happy. But if your goal is to be financially secure, financially free, and you want to not worry about money when you're 40, you want to have time with your kids, you want to be able to spend the most time you can with your family, you don't want to be that dad that never shows up to his kids' fucking basketball practice, that never shows up to his girls' ballerina practice, that never shows up to the swim meets. You're going to be that guy if you don't start now.
Dude, right? Exactly.
Because you already know the stories of people, of workaholics who end up not missing the most important things in life. The little things are the most important, right? So sacrifice now so that you don't have to later, instead of being lazy now knowing that you can do it later.
Exactly. That makes
sense. You got to do it now so you don't do it later. So you don't do it later, instead of don't do it now but you can do it later.
Exactly. A little confusing, but basically what you explain is do it now so you don't have to do it later.
Right.
And it just makes sense. You find something, you find a skill. For me, example, Alex, Mr. 18-year-old from Houston, if you're watching this, I was good at Instagram. I was good at the game. I was knowledgeable. I knew what worked. I knew what didn't work. I knew what people want to see. I knew what people didn't want to see. I used that and I said, how can I monetize this and leverage this as a skill that I made and I personally, developed? How can I sell this to people? I figured out that maybe, if I could, provide that kind of value that I've been learning for the years of, hard work that I put into my Instagram, if I could teach someone else to do the same thing, they could be able to pay me on a monthly basis. And that's why I, built my social media marketing agency, because I was ready in the Instagram game. That's something I was good at. So, Alex from Houston, whatever your name is, find something you're good at and work toward it and try to figure out how you want to monetize it. You're good at, making drawings, like you said earlier. Start making logos, and from logos start, building your, company and equity, and start leveraging it. Just like that, the podcast is over. First podcast in the books. Okay, guys, the battery died. I don't have a second one. I'm sorry. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this podcast. I really appreciate it. What I was just to finish off the little thing that I was saying is, if you have a tool, try to leverage it and sell it. Okay, that's if you're good at something, try to sell that thing that you're good at. At the end of the day, you'll be successful if it's your passion. Anything you want to say? Last words, Kevin?
Just be relentless, man. Just persevere. You're gonna get through whatever it is you're going through. You have to get through the storm to see the rainbow.
Don't take no for an answer, guys. And this is the Hustle House podcast. And thank you guys so much for watching. It's Untitled Trapper and Kevin, and we're out. Peace.